Okay, so now they're saying some kind of cold fusion reaction must have happened in the pyramids. Now they're starting to piece this stuff together. Look, I've been saying it for years. I just this year uploaded a video and designed a cold fusion generator. Just in a drawing with all the parts and the diagrams and everything. And now every country's got one that they can't get working. If they would just pay attention to some of this stuff, maybe somebody is watching me and monitoring me. Who knows? But look, people just don't want to believe in the Ark of the Covenant. But the Ark of the Covenant was a radioisotope thermoelectric generator. It had an open arc to it. Okay? I mean, everything indicates it was a radioisotope thermoelectric generator. I mean, come on. You couldn't look at it because it was too bright. Now, what happens when you arc weld? You can't look at it because it's too bright. Okay? You have radiation that was killing people. That's common radiation sickness. So there had to be alpha particles of radiation in it. And if you touched it, it killed you, electrocuted you to death. So it was a capacitor. It was a radioisotope thermoelectric capacitor. Okay? You have that thermonuclear dynamics going on. You have to have that thermonuclear energy. And if you're using alpha particles and you fuse those with ionized hydrogen, just like the sun does, helium-4 nuclei is helium. Okay? Then you got ionized hydrogen. You fuse those together. Then you end up with lithium. If it's a red dwarf star, it's going to be lithium. All right? If you have hot and cold, you have the Seebeck effect. All right? Then you can actually use star energy. They're saying, oh, it must have shined down these shafts and caused some nuclear reaction. Look, it wasn't that. They're backwards. Okay? This was like a flashlight or an energy that left or shine or shone or whatever it did, but these were vents, all right? The reason these aren't going out here is because all of this energy was transferred into the Queen's Chamber. This was distributed to a capstone, okay? All right, this is a quantum telescope that I designed, basically. If you have your whole cold fusion generator in here, you have a star, all right? Now, we basically use magnifying glasses to bring it towards us, all right? Well, that kind of limits us. We can't really shine light or lasers into space because they dissipate over time. But if we can use a pure radioactive or star or pure light and we can amplify that light, we can create a quantum telescope. We can literally create a flashlight that shows into space and creates like a light tunnel. Okay, I call it a photomagnetic telescope. All right, quantum telescope. Literally, it's like a flashlight. You're shining out in space and you're bringing the light that a star is emitting. You're basically making a light tunnel. You're connecting that. You're bringing it to you. You don't have to wait until it gets over here. We can actually get to it. You know what I'm saying? So we don't have to wait all this time to see something how it looked in the past. See, this is basically a cold fusion generator. You have your ionized hydrogen. You have your cathode, basically your electrode that you're going to ionize the hydrogen with. And you compress it in a magnetic field with the ionized hydrogen and the alpha particles. You apply electrons. You have to have your 369, your semiconductors, your electronegativity's got to be right. All of this stuff, basically you apply the electrons and you have a bright star. Okay? What you're doing is once you do this, you're fusing these atoms together and you're creating lithium. You're literally using, it's going to be hot, yeah, you know, but you can do it at room temperature. That's what cold fusion means. Cold fusion isn't cold. It's really hot, but it can be done at cold temperatures. You can do it at room temperature. So that's why it's called cold fusion. Everybody's been telling me forever now that it's a myth. Oh, you can't do it. Oh, blah, blah, blah. And they'll sit there and argue with me, and I'll try to explain it to them. I've explained it all over Facebook that it's possible. And now they're finally starting to get into it, but they can't get them to work because they're not unifying their fields. And they're not compensating for their damn the flux. And it's not the magnetic flux, it's the quantum flux. It's the flux that the star creates, okay? It's overloading. You have to utilize the energy as it puts it off. So maybe somebody will watch this and be like, oh, yeah. Or maybe they've been watching it for a while and they're like, oh, wow, yeah, this dude's giving us a lot of good ideas, you know, because it just seems kind of coincidental that nobody knew anything about all. Everybody always thought it was a myth. And I'd been talking about and telling all the people I know, look, if we could just get cold fusion off the ground, literally, we could change our nuclear power. We don't have to use tons of uranium. We can just use grams of nuclear energy to create big energy, basically. Okay? Just like this pyramid does. It uses the Seebeck effect. Literally. I mean, if the hotter something is, the more energy, the better the energy. Okay? What's hotter than a star? You have a small star, you have a cold chamber. Of course, all the stuff's been pillaged. You have to put everything back. This is like a diode directing it into the encasement. Alright? Once it's in the encasement, you have the piezoelectric properties of the quartz and everything distributing and localizing it right here to the Queen's chamber, which distributes it straight to the capstone, which puts it in the basically the atmosphere, our ionizing field, our magnetosphere, the basically works similar to how HAARP works. And technically, I think this is what caused the cataclysm over 13,000 years ago. Because of the magnetic field that it needs to work, it actually shifted the axis because something went wrong. And I think there was actually two of them. If there was one on each side of the planet, that would create an equilibrium for the planet. Now, if one of them went down, that would push, the other one would push the planet. It would throw off the magnetic field. And I think that's why all these secret societies and all that's been suppressing technology ever since. They just don't want this stuff to happen again, you know. But humans are bound to come out, I mean, with our technology. You can't bound us, you know. But people just don't want to believe the Ark of the Covenant was real, okay? These look like control rods in a nuclear reactor. Ironically, Aaron's rod was stored in it, all right? So, yeah, of course, I'm not finished with all this. This is a ground. There's a ground, actually. This is actually a hieroglyph, you know, and it's in all kinds of stuff, and the Sphinx is always sitting on top of it. So I think there's a large one under the Sphinx. And if you look at the bottom of a motherboard, you see all the solder points and all the little highways and stuff. That's what's under Giza, the Giza Plateau. It's basically like a giant motherboard. Inside a CPU is pure energy, okay? Imagine this is the CPU. And ironically, it's in a socket 1191, just like a computer has a socket, you know, for the main CPU. Okay, then you have the North Bridge and South Bridge processors. Basically, those are the other two pyramids. Menkare's pyramids and Khafre's. So, you know, they knew what cold fusion was. They knew what nuclear energy was. They knew what the microcosm was. They knew what the macrocosm was. They had all the intelligence and technology we have now. But you know what? Earth recycles everything. If you sit something out in a field, you can take a car and sit it out in a field, wait 200 or 300 years, and that damn thing's going to be buried. Literally, it's going to be gone. It's going to be under the ground. And if you actually dig it up, it's going to be a ball of rust. You're not even going to recognize it as a car anymore. And you know, that kind of throws me into there was a little figurine found inside a ball of iron or metals under like 300 feet under the ground when these guys were drilling. And they know that it was a little toy and it was a little modern figurine, but it was thousands of years old, okay? I think that ball of iron and all that metal was a conveyance vehicle, and some little kid left his toy in there when a cataclysm hit, and everybody died, and Earth and history and everything reset. I mean, come on. It seems kind of obvious. I mean, put two and two together. Forensic investigators do that, you know? They don't know what happened. They go by what they have that leads them in the right direction. Maybe it would lead us in the right direction if we consider some of this stuff. Once we start considering it, maybe it'll lead us in the direction the proof is at. We're like, oh, where's the proof? Where's the proof? Well, hell, sitting around waiting for it ain't going to get us to it any quicker.